Hi everybody, this is Sunday video for Math 100, September 6th, 2020. I hope you're doing well. It has been extremely hot, as you know, in Southern California and all over California. So stay cool, and I hope you have a great holiday weekend. All right, so I am so sorry about all the confusion I have created concerning worksheets, but I realized that it wasn't working very well in the first 2 weeks. So I decided to change things, all right? And I hope, because this is early enough, that this confusion is going to settle and that you will now know exactly what to do. So let me just show you. I will going to share my Canvas website. And so I will share the screen and then try to explain, try to clarify things as much as possible. Okay, so this is how you are going to be studying these lessons, all right? You know that we have 20 lessons plus 21 lessons for this course, for this entire course. And you should be somewhere, you know, like section, the lesson 4 or 5 at this point. But for each lesson, okay, let me just go over from the beginning of this. So we have this big module called Welcome to Math 100. And that's where first one I inserted this office hours. So during my office hours, you can click on that, and then there's a Zoom link that you can use to, you know, meet with me during those office hours, Mondays and Thursdays, Monday and Thursday afternoon from 1 to 2:30. Then list of homework exercises, all the introductory things. If you have not downloaded your textbook, that's where you should do that. You have completed your assignment 1, and so your work for assignment 1. You have lesson 1 on fallacies, lesson 2 on propositions and logic, and lesson 3 on analyzing arguments, and so on. All right, let's use lesson 3 as an example here. Right, this is what you should be doing as you encounter a new lesson. All right, so you go to this website, the Canvas shell, and go to the lesson module, and then the first thing you see is the lesson notes. Now you know this is basically blank, right? This is a PDF file with blank boxes for you to fill out. And so you should print to fill in, and you should print this out, okay? Or you can just download a PDF file on your tablet if you can write directly on your tablet screen. And then if you click on that lesson page, the lesson page will have videos, right? And so you watch those videos, and then you have the item here called worksheet hard copy. So this is where you can print your worksheet, the hard copy of it. Now, the thing is, this is what I used to have, and then I used to have you fill this out and then make a PDF file, a scan, and make a PDF file, and then turn that in. And that was okay until I saw that many of you actually didn't check your answers, right? So I'll tell you exactly what is promoted this change, okay? So let me talk to you right at the screen here. In the old days, when we used to meet face-to-face in the classroom, okay? We had class twice a week, 80 minutes each, right? Just like any 3-unit courses like you are familiar with. And so the first 60 minutes or so, I would spend time explaining the concepts and doing basically the lecture and answer students' questions. The last 20 minutes was spent as I divided up students into small groups, and then they will work on these worksheets. Okay, this is basically page number 3 of our class notes, but it's a separate worksheet I prepared for students every class period. And then after about 15 minutes, I'll go over all the questions. And so I can answer all the questions, they will correct their work, and then I will collect the worksheet as the students exit the classroom. Okay, so by the time I collected them, I knew that they were exposed to the answers. They had corrected their answers. So I didn't even bother checking for the correctness, which was the idea here. Okay, so now if you look at this worksheet, it's a hard copy. Many of you are turning in, like lesson number 2 was on logic. Okay, and you had questions like negations, lesson number 3 had contrapositives, inverse and converse. And I saw that many of you had incorrect answers and you didn't check them. And so then I started to think, this is not a very good thing. Now I have 4 sections of this, which means I have over 140 students of Math 100. And I don't have the time to check all the answers, but I do want you to recognize when you get the wrong answers. And that's why I changed this to the online worksheets, right? So now if you look at it, everything, every section, even lesson number 1 has this online worksheet, which is like this, right? So if you click on worksheet number 3, for instance, right? And by the way, if you turned in your homework, I mean the worksheets for 1 and 2, even 3 and 4, that's okay. Those things will still count. Remember, each worksheet is only worth 1 point, right? So, I mean, it's not a whole lot of points. I mean, at the end of the semester, I collect all of them. That's still worth 20 points. Now, some of the problems, like maybe one problem on the test, is probably worth like 5 or 6 points. So, you know, in terms of the number of points, it's really not a whole lot. So this is really just my way of saying, look, pay attention to your lesson, turn in your worksheet. I will provide all the answers and you get a point. You know, this is for you to just keep up with the work and a motivation, hopefully, to keep up with the work. All right, so this is worksheet 3. And the instructions are given here. Basically, it says, watch the videos. And then what you should do before you go and click on this test or take that quiz is to print out that physical hard copy of worksheet 3. Try to answer those questions. Okay, and if you like, you can check the answers, okay, because you know you can find the answer keys, right? Now, when you go to take the quiz, you will see pretty much exactly the same questions. Now, let me go back to worksheet number 3. And this is your worksheet number 3, the hard copy of it. So again, in this page, you end up watching those 2 videos that go with lesson number 3. And then if you click on the hard copy of this, I hope I can do this. Yeah, all right. And you will see the hard copy. As I said, you should download this. You should print it. But the nice thing now is you don't have to scan it and turn it in. Okay, so it's kind of small, but all the questions you see here are things you can fill in. And once you have the physical copy or the hard copy of it, it'll be much easier to answer those questions online in worksheet 3. Okay, and then when you submit quiz, when you click on the button submit quiz to submit worksheet 3, any wrong answer, incorrect answers will be flagged red. Okay, and then you can go back and check the answers and then correct it. Now, you have up to 3 attempts at this. Okay, in other words, if you miss like all of the questions or half of the questions on the first attempt, that's okay. You still have time to and an opportunity to go back to. By the way, where do you find the answers? Some of you are answering, asking me questions like, I can't find the answers. This is the key. Let's go to lesson number 3. When you click on this key, then this will give you the answers, right? And in fact, it'll give you all 3 pages of the lesson. The first 2 pages being your lecture notes, right? So the first 2 pages of the lecture notes, everything that I show you in the video are recorded here. And on the 3rd page, this is your worksheet for lesson number 3, otherwise called worksheet 3. And so the answers are given here, and you can go ahead and self-correct your incorrect answers. And then you can go to the 2nd attempt of that online worksheet. Okay, and if you still get it wrong or get some answers wrong, you can go on the 3rd attempt, right? And hopefully by your 3rd attempt, everything that you answered is correct, and you get 1 full point for that worksheet. All right, so that's how it's designed. Now, again, if you have already turned in your worksheets for 1, 2, 3, or 4, then that's fine. Everything you turn in will be counted as 1 point. But from now on, moving forward, that's all you will do. You will be turning in no scanned worksheets, but just be taking these online worksheets before the deadline. Okay, and I suggest you do this right after your lesson. Right? So again, let's say you go to lesson 4, you print out your notes, and as you watch the videos, you fill in the blanks in the notes. Okay, and then you print out the hard copy of the worksheet, try to do these problems. And by the way, feel free to spend a few days on this, and you can reach out to your other classmates in your study group. Okay, and that's really what the study groups are for. And there is a lot of benefit in teaching from and learning from teaching to and learning from your classmates. So I highly encourage you to work in groups. That's what we would be doing if we were meeting face to face. And then check your answers if you like, or go directly to worksheet 4 on an online format. If you get the answers wrong, go back and check your answers. You can, again, contact your classmates in your group or contact me if you don't understand something, or come to my office hours, Zoom office hours, to ask questions. And then you go back and do a second attempt on your worksheet 4. And if necessary, go to your this on your third attempt. And only the highest of the 3 points, the scores, will be recorded on your grade book. Okay. And incidentally, at the end of section 4, lesson 4, you will have worksheet on homework on chapter 1. Right. So if you click on that, you can submit your scanned homework for chapter 1. At this point, homework and show your work for tests, those are the only things you will be scanning and uploading into Zoom. So I hope this is clear. Again, if you don't know how this whole thing is supposed to work, please contact me and I'll try to explain that in person. Well, I mean, in Zoom personally. And by the way, once you're done with those worksheets that you print out, keep them, okay? Because you will be needing those as you prepare for your exam. Now, I know your test is not coming this week or next week, but it's nice to keep those worksheets as well as your lecture notes, because those are the things that you will need to study for your exams, okay? Again, you will not see the correct answers online when you submit your worksheets. Why not? Well, because the answer key is provided with details. I don't want you to just get the right answer. I want you to know why you got the wrong answers. So make sure you check your answers against the answer key. And that's the third page of your lesson notes. And whatever you don't understand, feel free to contact me and we will make sure that you learn the material. All right. My weekly office hours on Zoom are Mondays and Thursdays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. And except for Monday, the holiday, if there's a holiday like Labor Day tomorrow, I will not be available. Okay, so what else do we need to know? Like I said before, the only thing you will be scanning and uploading from now on will be your homework for each chapter. Okay, now you realize that chapter is different from lessons, right? Each chapter is covered by 2, 3, or 4 lessons. Like chapter 1 was covered in the first 5 lessons. Lesson 5 starts chapter 2. And so every time the chapter is finished, like the first 4 lessons, then I will have you turn in your homework on the Monday following. The day when we finish. I mean, it's a holiday, but you should probably do it today and many of you already have turned in your homework for chapter 1. The answer key is available. And so what's the point? Some of you ask. Well, the answer to your question is that I just want you to show me that you have been faithfully doing your homework, okay? Again, I realize that you could just easily do this by copying my answers. Well, bad news is if you do that without understanding, you will not be able to do well on the exams, okay? So make sure as you do your homework, you do your struggling and you get your answers and you understand what you're doing as you write your work and show your work on your homework. Okay, again, homework is due whenever the chapter is done. And so chapter 1 homework is due tomorrow, the 7th, and that is the first set of homework that's due for this course. Okay. In addition to those, for anything where you, for any exams, you also turn in your scanned work, but that's pretty much it, right? Again, homework is not graded for accuracy, it is graded for completeness. Some of you are wondering what the study groups are for. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the study groups are set up so you can reach out to fellow students. And student-to-student interaction is really a crucial element of learning material, such as the contents of liberal arts mathematics. Okay, so Monday is a holiday. I hope you are having a good holiday weekend. I know it's extremely hot, and I hope you're still staying cool. This coming week, because Monday is a holiday, you don't have a full 2 lessons to study, but you should be studying lesson number 5, okay? And lesson number 5 is the beginning of chapter 2. It's percentages. Some of you may need to review percentages. This is a very um, arithmetic heavy lesson. All right. So if you need extra help on percentages, and you may think, well, you know what, I sort of understand percentages. Well, there are lots of tricky things about percentages. And it's one of those things that you encounter every single day, right? I bet you will not live a day um, on earth when you don't encounter or and somehow deal with percentages. So if you do need that extra support, I have mentioned this in video as well, but we have non-credit courses you can sign up pretty much any time, okay? And so if you go to the schedule of classes, not the math, don't look for math classes, but look under non-credit math, okay? So it starts with N, not M. Look under non-credit math, and you'll see NC, standing for non-credit, NC Math 4 and NC Math 5. They're spelled out 005 and 004. But the 4 and 5, non-credit math 4 and non-credit math 5, are the appropriate classes for you to review percentages and proportions and word problems, which are exactly what you will need in chapter 2. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything. And you already are, students of COC, so the registration will be very easy, and you will be connected with the teacher of those non-credit courses, and you will basically be working online. It's 100% online section, and so I think this will be very helpful if you need that extra support on percentages. Okay, so that's it. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you next time.